So later he studied later enchantment, which served to intervene in the matter, and when he tried to show it to the blacksmith, she was in a bad mood like the others. Even the blondes had poisoned food for him, and as he didn't know who else to ask for advice, he went to the alchemist, who was the calmest of them all, and obviously she gave him the answer, and that is because they're all jealous, and the reason for this is very obvious since our protagonist had hickeys all over his neck, and even the alchemist flirted with him, but she limited herself to giving him a kiss on the cheek, and then the flirting began, and just as they were so close, Gimi appeared to interrupt because she also wants the same thing, and well, then all the others from his harem come. So he very cleverly closed the room with golden threads, and also used atmosphere manipulation so that those outside couldn't hear those inside. So basically he applied soundproofing in the place, and when Gokage was curiously passing by to see what it was, his companion just told him they were busy and he better not interrupt them, and well, that night for our Gobro was very hot and full of pleasure, but also if something were to happen he would take responsibility, and so it was that on day 44 our Fader tells us that his ability to detect has been improving so much that now he can discover the race and strength with just one glance, and it's thanks to that he now felt something coming, and at the same time one of his companions called him because those who arrived were none other than elves, and on top of that, the leader of this group is not humble at all as he complains to him for having made him wait so long. So our bro remembers that his instinct told him that these would give them problems, and after having heard that presumptuous elf, our protagonist quickly understood that the humans planned to attack the elves, and what they want is help in exchange for a reward, which was to give them food for several months, and obviously our bro denies that deal since after all it's their problem, and he emphasizes that if they want to ask for a favor from other races, they should show much more humility, and upon hearing this, the leader of the elves gets heated up and is about to draw his sword, but our golden gorilla just with a glance leaves them perplexed and very exhausted, so much so that they can't even move. And without wasting time he grabs the leader by the neck and tells him that if he doesn't want his neck crushed he should order his escorts to lower their bows, but then one of the archers shoots an arrow at our protagonist, but he catches it with his mouth and nothing happens to him. So the scared braggart asks everyone to lower their weapons at the same time that our big bro, taking out his spear, emphasizes that he won't help them just because he doesn't feel like it, but unfortunately, since they also live in the same place, he knows that the humans will soon come to bother them too. So he is willing to help, and when he pounds his spear against the ground he suppresses all the elves present at once because the ability of his spear is called Tempes, and it works within a radius of 100 m, so at the same time he releases the elven leader. And he and the others take advantage of it to run away like cowards, and seeing them run away like that our bro thinks they shouldn't come back for a good while, so the next day he set out to hunt some gray slimes which are usually found at the bottom of the forest, and in total he caught about 20, and by eating their cores he acquired different abilities like physical resistance, fluid replacement, and auto-fission, the latter being the one that caught his attention the most. So by making a wound on his finger he placed his blood on a rock to which he gave the shape of a small sprite, and yes, that's how autovision works, although he can also see himself through the little doll, and with that an idea occurs to him. So on day 46 he mixed his blood into the lining of some dresses that the girls had to go out and gave them to Kmi and some human girls as they would serve as a transmitter in case of emergency, and the next day is when we see him using his red doll. And it's good that he used it because the elves came just then and this time better prepared, but our ogre friend won't allow it, and with just a shout he scares all the elves to the point that they can't even move, so our protagonist quickly goes out and captures them all with his threads, and once they're all sitting and gathered he asks the leader why they came back, but the anipped one just answers that they hurt his pride and that's why they deserve to die. However, not even his companions defend him as they tell our bro that they tried to stop him, but he doesn't listen to them, so our bro tells them that from now on they should consider their leader dead and all the others will have friendly fights, and he promises them that he won't kill the winners of the fights, and well, the results were that 6 out of the 23 elves who participated lost, and yes, all the losers were males because our protagonist didn't want to kill the pretty girls, and as the cheater he is, He secretly rigged the pairings, so now he asks the winners to hand over their weapons and magic items, because from now on they'll be their prisoners, and the jumble it occurs to them to complain, but he can't stand the chatter and tells them not to ask for so much sense. After all, they came to kill them. At the same time, we see that the old man is waiting for the night, as he is quite horny, but our big bro reminds the old man not to touch them without permission, and there the old man recognizes that our bro is the leader, and as such he will listen to him, and he recognizes that the young ones need a good example like him, and those words move our big bro. However, the little old man ruins it all because he asks him to let him have one from time to time if he looks a lot like Master Rashid. So after a very dirty conversation, he sets out to punish the leader of the elves, and apparently from what was seen he eats him. And on day 48, when Gokichi was killing a bear, he finally arrived, reached level 100. So obviously he could evolve. On day 49, we see his new appearance. He looks very muscular, robust, and red. Obviously, when our protagonist sees him, he recognizes him immediately, while giving him some pats to feel his chest. Quite a manly moment. Unlike our protagonist, Gokichi evolved into a variation of an ogre. His tanned skin is due to the blessing of the demigod of fire, and the tough and shiny skin like iron is thanks to the blessing of the demigod of war. Then, our red friend tells Gobro that since he became Nogro, he can't fight with any of them, and at one point, he thought he wouldn't catch up, but now that he did, he asks him to face him again. Obviously, our white-haired friend accepts this fight. So we immediately see them surrounded by different goblins, as they have already started exchanging blows. Even Kokichi manages to land some hits on our protagonist, but in the last fist clash, the red one falls. So our protagonist doesn't think he's still winning against him in hand-to-hand combat. However, he has no doubt that Goichi is now his rival. In the evening, when he was very tired after the friendly match, something approached him, apologizing for something, and asking him to please accept this. In his system, our protagonist sees that he got something, but when he gets up from nowhere, he doesn't know what happened. So we come to day 51, and Gobu is leading him by the hand, and even tells him to be quiet and watch. This little one is really oppressive. And it's there that we see 4 new hobgoblins, which were obviously inspired by our Gobkichi, and the alchemist mentions that one of them could be a magician, and as for the other, he is more suitable to be a cleric. So the young one introduces himself as Gopi, and addressing our Gopro, he says, "Brother, I will strive to heal as many wounded as I can," although obviously, the word brothers seems a bit strange to our protagonist, so the young man explains that they are all like brothers from birth. And that's when he notices the supreme mage of the village, that is, Jobs. So our protagonist asks her to explain her new appearance, so she tells him that she became a semi-lord sorcerer, although there she shows him that she has some marks, something he can't stand, because he also has them on his body. And then Gosei, seeing him distracted, tells him that now that he has magical power to spare, they should go check if they are really strong, and so they do. And this crazy one quickly sets the forest on fire, and very humbly mentions that she still has plenty of energy to cast that spell 20 times. So our protagonist tells her that there's no need for that, since with this, he could see how powerful she is. At the same time, in his mind, he explains that races with the name Semi are less powerful than the original races, and in her case, it's very likely that her next evolution will be to a Lord Sorcerer, and after a while, he gives her a new set of equipment to celebrate her evolution, and well, their Sato is envious to see her with a new outfit, but Gops calmly mentions that he will soon catch up, and with that, our protagonist realizes that in this village, precisely, the goblins, they evolve a lot and very quickly, and he's quite sure it's because of his influence. Seeing them grow and develop, the new goblins, he theorizes that their development varies according to their environment during the first month. Although he believes it's all good because now he has very strong companions, he also knows that there are others who haven't grown in the same environment. On day 52, when he had gone out with his friend, he encounters the older goblins from the previous generation. They recognize that they can't keep up anymore, and even though they try to surpass them, the young ones always outpace them. Currently, they don't even accept a duel anymore. Because of all this, they decided to leave the village. They even tell our protagonist that if they want to kill them, go ahead, as they don't want to continue living in such a miserable way. But our protagonist doesn't have any problem with that, and furthermore, he's not going to kill them because they are not stealing anything from the village, and all the equipment they carry is theirs. He even gives them a knife made of a magical metal called mithril, with which they can cut through anything. So we're already on day 53, and during his walk in the forest, he found an orc that had annihilated a human. Although he was already dead, he planned to leave him there. But when he noticed that he possessed a peculiar ability, he decided to keep him, so he ended up killing the little orc. And this ability is Monster Tamer. Furthermore, in the evening, the alchemist surprised him with something, as she believed she created what he desired so much. Upon taking it, he becomes very happy and joyful, and the next day he gathers everyone and tells them that the generation of their parents has left the village. In front of everyone, he mentions that if anyone wants to leave, they should simply raise their hand, and not to worry, as he won't stop them. Just like those who left, he will give them a farewell gift, but obviously, no one leaves, and he mentions that it's better that way. Raising his glass, he says it's time to toast, and several peaceful days pass, during which he dedicates himself to creating earrings for the ears with his blood, and he calls them IRC. Thanks to this, he could converse with them, and once they were tested, he mass-produced them. By day 57, he noticed that Gobu had developed very well, and she had even been able to kill a tricornio, and the best part was that she captured it almost unharmed. So with this great opportunity, he used the Monster Tamer ability of that human, and that powerful monster became his first familiar. But not content with that, they also took the burly bear, and thanks to this, they captured the leader of the wolves, whom they left as a bodyguard for the humans. On day 59, something interesting happened for him, as the redhead, who didn't stand out much in combat, shone that day, leading him to think that at least she is someone who extracts all her potential when cornered. Moreover, she was able to take on 3 cops herself. Just as she was inviting him, her chicken alerted her that she had learned a new profession, with which she can now capture prey she couldn't before. However, if she doesn't regularly eat monsters, she will die. Still, he finds the progress of her skills amazing. After that, the goblin cleric informs him that some goblins injured by humans have returned today. Thus, our protagonist tells the boy that the war between humans and elves will start very soon. On day 60, in the morning, thanks to his detection ability, he notices many cops fleeing. However, he fails to detect who is pursuing them because it's too dark for his ability. He prepares with the others and tells them to ignore the cops. They manage to notice magical skeletons, although not those goblins. They try to attack with arrows, which doesn't work. Our protagonist analyzes the situation and notices a larger signal behind all the skeletons, being sure it's the one creating them. Meanwhile, Sato was fighting one of them, and when another appeared behind her, she eliminated it quickly. With this information, our protagonist tells everyone to drop their weapons, and they start beating the skeletons. The redhead was eating one of them. When everyone is tired, our protagonist finishes them all off in less than 10 seconds, including the summoner, whom he devours, learning the ability to summon lesser undead. After that, the cobs, who hadn't been harmed, thank our protagonist, calling him Sir. They explained that they were working peacefully and stumbled upon Velvet's treasure chamber, awakening the superior skeleton guarding the place. To escape the tremendous horde of skeletons, they risked coming to the cave of the terrifying Dark Lord. By a small mistake, they almost died. They thank our protagonist for being alive. Thanks to him being a good person, our protagonist decides to heal the wounded, and they will talk later. He realizes that the group is becoming more diverse and larger.